Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. Twitter Files, Part 7. Before you start rolling your eyes and say, oh, John, not this again. I'm so tired of hearing this. This video is going to be a little bit longer. There's a lot of information here. I implore you to please watch it all. I'm telling you that this Twitter thing with the Elon Musk takeover and the exposure of the intelligence services in the United States, the FBI, as one of them, colluded with a private company on social media to interfere in a presidential election. Now, there's some that say, well, the people in the social media company didn't really know. The intelligence services were saying it was disinformation and all kinds of other stuff. So we were just cooperating with our government. That's probably partially true. But the higher ups in Twitter especially, and Facebook and other social media companies, they knew. They knew this was complete bull. They knew. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody. My new subscribers, got quite a few, even though I've been suppressed here pretty good on this website. If any one of you really wants to help the channel out, go to another video and watch it for just over 30 seconds. That will count as a view for me. And every time you watch one of my videos, go back to another video and watch it for 30 seconds. And we can get around the algorithm. That word probably ruined this video for YouTube, but frankly, I don't know what else to do. Let's get on with it. Twitter Files, Part 7. The FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop. Yeah, I put that in there just for fun. How the FBI and intelligence community discredited factual information about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings, both after and before the New York Post revealed the contents of his laptop on October 14th, 2020. It's amazing. In Twitter Files number 7, we present evidence pointing to an organized effort by the representatives of the intelligence community aimed at senior executives of news and media, social media companies to discredit leaked information about Hunter Biden before and after it was published. This wasn't about protecting Hunter Biden. Make no mistake. This was about protecting now President Joe Biden, then candidate, and also the Progressive Democrat Party and their machine. The story begins in December 2019 when a Delaware computer store owner named John Paul Mac Isaac contacts the FBI about a laptop that Hunter Biden had left with him. This guy was so screwed up, Hunter Biden, that he left the laptop for repairs and forgot to pick it up. And as almost all states have, if not all, when you leave something for repair and leave it there for quite a while, it becomes the property of the repair shop. On December 9th, this is still before the election, the FBI issues a subpoena for and takes Hunter Biden's laptop. Now, there were copies made. By August 2020, Mac Isaac still had not heard back from the FBI. That's the computer repair store owner, even though he discovered evidence of criminal activity. And so he emails Rudy Giuliani, who was under FBI surveillance at the time. In early October, Giuliani gives it to the New York Post. Now let's look at the timeline some more. Shortly before 7 p.m. Eastern Time on October 13th, Hunter Biden's lawyer emails J.P. Mac Isaac. Hunter and Messiers had just learned from the New York Post that its story about the laptop will be published the next day. They probably called them for a comment, which good journalists do. At 9:22 Eastern Time, FBI Special Agent, now look at this. That's 7 p.m. Less than 3 hours later, FBI Special Agent Elvis Chan sent 10 documents to Twitter's then-held head of site integrity. There's an oxymoron if you ever heard one. Yoel Roth. To Teleporter, a one-way communications channel from the FBI to Twitter. Now, how did Mr. Roth, get that one-way communications. Things that make you go, The next day, on October 14th, the New York Times runs an explosive story revealing the business dealings of President Joe Biden's son. Every single fact in it was accurate. There's no shading the truth. It was really, really well done reporting. And yet, within hours, Twitter and other special social media companies censored the New York Post article, preventing it from spreading. And more importantly, undermining its credibility in the minds of many Americans. Why is that? What exactly happened? Now, you can say all you want to about chain of custody and everything else. They're talking about what the intelligence services did with the social media and mainstream media. They lied. They laid the groundwork prior to this, knowing something was going to happen, and said there's a lot of foreign and Russian disinformation coming up because of the election coming. We just want to make you aware. And when it comes up, we're going to be there to save the American people from this disinformation. A total crock of bull. Since then, we have discovered new info that points to an organized effort by the intel community to influence Twitter and other platforms. Yeah. First, it's important to understand that Hunter Biden earned millions of dollars in contracts with foreign businesses, including ones linked to China's government, from which Hunter offered no real work. And yet, during all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Joel Roth to dismiss reports of Hunter Biden's laptop as a Russian hack and leak operation. Why would they do that? Why would they purposely lie? I don't want to hear this chain of custody bull. I really don't. There were copies made. They're all over. Nobody's denied anything in the Hunter Biden laptop. Of course, they don't talk about it. If there was anything false in there, don't you think for a minute they would be screaming and hollering that it was false? This is a declaration by Roth. I don't want to bore you with the legal stuff. Now, this is going to be interesting here. This is Zuckerberg, who all of you know is the head of Facebook. And this is the thing he made, I believe, is on Joe Rogan. What he said.
The background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice.
And they know now, of course, they knew back then from the 2016 election, the propaganda, the interference was minimal, just hackers. It was so trivial and so inconsequential that it's not even worth the blip. Interesting, though, they don't have time to find out that children are being sent all over the country from illegal immigration and doing all kinds of horrible things to them, pimping them out. And the FBI can't have enough manpower to stop the fentanyl that's coming in this country, but they had time for this bullshit?
That basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. The background here is
there's going to be a dump coming. So Zuckerberg said, sir, yes, sir. That's absolute. I'm not even going to use the beeper. That's bullshit. He knew, and the security people on Facebook and Twitter and the other social media platforms, they knew. So they took the New York Post off of Twitter so they couldn't inform the American people. After the election, 1 out of 7 said they would not have voted for Joe Biden if they'd have known. That is election interference. Now, we can quibble on who's more guilty, the social media and the mainstream media types or companies, or the intelligence services, the alphabet soup of intelligence services we have in this country. I would put 75% of the blame on the intelligence services, 25% on the social media companies. Now, because they all, cable news included, all hated Donald Trump's guts. So they hid information from the American people. Indeed, Twitter executives repeatedly reported very little Russian activity. Isn't that interesting? On September 24th, just prior to the election in 2020, Twitter told FBI that it removed 345 largely inactive largely inactive accounts linked to previous coordinated Russian hacking attempts. Trivial, 345 when there's hundreds of millions of accounts. They had little reach and low follower accounts, which was basically nothing. It shows them doing their patriotic duty. Yeah, okay. In fact, Twitter debunked false claims by journalists of foreign interference on its platform. We haven't seen any evidence to support that claim. They said to NBC News of foreign-controlled bots. Our review thus far shows small-scale domestic troll effort. After FBI asked a Washington Post story on alleged foreign influence and pro-Trump tweet, Twitter's Roth, you remember him? I believe he's another piece of work. You'll see him later in a short video. Roth says, the article makes a lot of insinuations, but we saw no evidence that the case was made here, and in fact, a lot of strong evidence pointing in the other direction. There's the article there, you see black voters being targeted for disinformation campaigns, echoing 2016 Russian playbook. Another pile of bull. It's not the first time that Twitter's Roth has pushed back against the FBI. I don't make this guy out a hero. He's a massive piece of crap. In January 2020, Roth resisted FBI efforts to get Twitter to share data outside of the normal reach search warrant process. Give us stuff that's unlawful. We don't have a search warrant, but give it to us anyway. That is a federal crime by both sides, the intelligence service and the media company, in this case, Twitter. Pressure had been growing. We have seen a sustained, if uncoordinated, effort by the intelligence community to push us to share more info and change our API policies. They are probing and pushing everywhere they can, including by whispering to congressional staff, who then gets a hold of Twitter. Now, here's the thing. Sustained effort, if uncoordinated, that means there were radicals in the intelligence service. What percent group and how many, I don't know. But enough to tarnish the whole intelligence community, period, whether they're 5% or 50%. Time and time again, FBI asks Twitter for evidence of foreign influence, and Twitter responds that they aren't finding anything worth reporting. We haven't yet identified activity that we typically refer to you or even flag as interesting in the foreign influence context. We haven't identified anything because there isn't anything. This might put us pushback. Say that 3 times fast. The FBI repeatedly requests information from Twitter that Twitter was already made clear it will not share outside of normal legal channels. They were desperately looking for even one little crumb of foreign influence online so they could justify hiding the Hunter Biden laptop. This is what we want to hide. Now we got to find a reason to do it. That sounds like illegal to you? Then by July 2020, the FBI's Elvis Chan arranges for temporary top secret security clearances for Twitter executives. Top secret security clearances for Twitter executives so that the FBI can share information about threats to the upcoming election. Threats that didn't exist. On August 11, 2020, the FBI's Chan shares information with Twitter's Roth relating to the Russian hacking organization, APT-28. Through the FBI's secure one-way communications channel, Teleporter. Nobody can get that. Recently, Joel told Kara Wisher he had been primed to think about the Russian hacking group APT-28 before news of the Hunter laptop came out. Let's see what he has to say. This is going to be interesting.
We learn about DC leaks, and we learn about the intersection between APT-28, a unit of Russian military intelligence, a hacking group. And so the morning of the Hunter Biden story in the New York Post happens, and it was weird, right? We didn't know what to believe. We didn't know what was true. There was smoke, and ultimately for me, it didn't reach a place where I was comfortable removing this content from Twitter. But it set off every single one of my finely tuned APT-28 hack and leak campaign alarm bells.
So it looked possibly problematic.
Everything about it looked like a hack and leak.
Everything, all my alarm bells went off, and I was just snookered by the intelligence service. Bullshit. This guy's a scumbag. Now he's just trying to cover his own behind. In August of 2020, meanwhile, remember, this is before the election, FBI Chan asked Twitter, does anyone there have top secret clearance? When someone mentions Jim Baker is a former FBI agent for many, many years with top secret clearance that Elon Musk just recently fired because somehow he overlooked him in the first firing sequence. When someone mentions Jim Baker, Chan responds, I don't know how I forgot him. An odd claim, given Chan's job is to monitor Twitter, not to mention that they work together at the FBI. Who is Jim Baker? He's former general counsel of the FBI from 2014 to 2018 and one of the most powerful men in the U.S. intel community. But he forgot who he was. Baker has moved in and out of government for 30 years, serving stints at CNN and Bridgewater, a $140 billion asset management firm, and Brookings, the Brookings Institute. As general counsel of the FBI, Baker played a central role in making the case internally for an investigation of Donald Trump. FBI took Michael Sussman's alleged allegation of Trump-Russia collusion. Remember that one? The Russian collusion hoax? Baker was the only senior FBI executive involved in the Trump investigation to go to Twitter. I wonder what they got for a salary. Maybe Elon Musk ought to publish what they got for salaries. Don Burton, the former deputy chief of staff to FBI head James Comey, remember that piece of garbage? Who initiated the investigation on Trump, joined Twitter in 2019 as director of strategy. How nice. As of 2020, there were so many former FBI employees, Boo alumni, working at Twitter that they created their own private Slack channel and a crib sheet to onboard new FBI arrivals. Isn't that interesting? Efforts continue to influence Twitter's Yoel Roth. In September, remember this is before the election of 2020, Roth participated in an Aspen Institute table exercise on potential hack and dump operation related to Hunter Biden. The goal was to shape how the media covered it and how social media carried it. The organizer was Vivian Schiller, the former CEO of NPR, former head of news at Twitter, former general manager of the New York Times, and former digital officer at NBC News. Yeah, she's unbiased. What a crock of bullshit. Whether you hate Donald Trump or not, this is evil and unlawful. Attendees included Meta, Facebook's head of security policy, and top national security reporters for the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others. And there it is, folks. There's part 7. The plot thickens. Is it really complicated and hard to follow? Well, actually, not really. What it comes down to is this. The intelligence services of the most powerful country in the world with the largest military and probably one of the largest intelligence services, bar China and maybe Russia, colluded with mainstream news organizations, cable news organizations, and social media companies to kill stories that were harmful to Joe Biden's campaign. And more importantly, I think they cared about Biden that much to make sure that Donald Trump would not be reelected. That, folks, is the real insurrection. What are you going to do about it? Until next time, goodbye and good luck.